change the world and history right here where we're from. It's no beginning to you and me, cause we're not done. In our city, in our city, in our city, we're not done. I'll be like okay, it's time to ride. Okay, we're done with that one. Good morning, everybody. Hope this day finds you well. It's time to rise and shine. Hopefully, everything will work today. If not, I'm hoping. Anyway, good morning to you. Believe it or not, I'm bright and chipper. It is the 20th day of October, 2025, and it was 19 years ago today that Zarel, what is his middle name? Jonathan Elkins was born, and my last child. I want to say happy birthday to him and all the fellas down in Fort Gordon, Georgia. So I find out some of them are listening. We appreciate it. I don't know where Fort Gordon is. I think somebody said it's in Nevada or Savannah or someplace like that. Anyway, good morning to you, young man. It's been a great first 19 years. Don't know if I got 19 left, but the first one was pretty good. Anyway, good morning to you. I'm Kevin Elkins, and of course, next up, it is our daily bread. That's what we do first, because nothing is quite as important. Nothing is quite as important as a word from on high to get your day started. Something that'll change your perspective or give you a new one. But either way, it's good for the soul. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Lord, for every breath I take.
You know I got a little hope stuff. I'll put that up there someplace. Oh, anyway, there it is right there, yeah.
Every moment filled with your warm embrace. Through valleys deep and mountains high, your faith a beacon in the sky.
Anyway, so we'll be back right after this, so y'all hang loose. Our Daily Bread, and my special speaker for today is Lou Holtz. I think it's like 5 minutes or something like that. The former Notre Dame coach of the Fighting Irish, and a wise man, as a matter of fact. I'm pretty sure you get some from him. So we'll be back right after this. Good morning to you. Hope this day finds you well, finds you in good spirit. Hopefully you're healthy, wealthy, and wise. But if you have your health, then you are wealthy. The wisdom, well, I'll let you worry about that one. Okay? Let's keep moving on to something else. Next up, our Daily Bread.
Through storms that rage and skies of blue, each day I wake and I choose you in every heart.
Leaders who serve will serve as good leaders. Our Daily Bread. Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by David McCaslin. In his book Spiritual Leadership, J. Oswald Sanders explores the qualities and the importance of tact and diplomacy. Combining these two words, Sanders says, the idea emerges of skill in reconciling opposing viewpoints without giving offense and without compromising principle. During Paul's imprisonment in Rome, he became the spiritual mentor and close friend of a runaway slave named Onesimus, whose owner was Philemon. When Paul wrote to Philemon, a leader of the church in Colossae, asking him to receive Onesimus as a brother in Christ, he exemplified tact and diplomacy. Although in Christ I could be bold and order you to do what you ought to do, yet I prefer to appeal to you on the basis of love. Onesimus is very dear to me, but even dearer to you, both as a fellow man and as a brother in the Lord. Paul, a respected leader of the early church, often gave clear commands to the followers of Jesus. In this case, though, he appealed to Philemon on the basis of equality, friendship, and love. I did not want to do anything without your consent, so that any favor you do would not seem forced, but would be voluntary. In all our relationships, may we seek to preserve harmony and principle in the spirit of love.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Philemon, verses 8 through 18. Therefore, although in Christ I could be bold and order you to do what you ought to do, yet I prefer to appeal to you on the basis of love. It is as none other than Paul, an old man and now also a prisoner of Christ Jesus, that I appeal to you for my son Onesimus, who became my son while I was in chains. Formerly he was useless to you, but now he has become useful both to you and to me. I am sending him, who is my very heart, back to you. I would have liked to keep him with me so that he could take your place in helping me while I am in chains for the gospel. But I did not want to do anything without your consent, so that any favor you do would not seem forced, but would be voluntary. Perhaps the reason he was separated from you for a little while was that you might have him back forever, no longer as a slave, but better than a slave, as a dear brother. He is very dear to me, but even dearer to you, both as a fellow man and as a brother in the Lord. So if you consider me a partner, welcome him as you would welcome me. If he has done you any wrong or owes you anything, charge it to me. That's today's scripture reading from Philemon, verses 8 through 18.
And now let's pray. Father in heaven, in all our relationships, give us grace and wisdom to be wise leaders, parents, and friends. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Okay. Okay, that's enough left. Okay, we got enough left. We good. We good. We got that. Okay. Good morning. See some of you guys up early this morning like me, and now this is a piece from Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz is probably, Notre Dame has a um has a reputation. It's kind of like Alabama, of always getting the best coaches that are out there. And out for a minute there, I was worried about the young fella there now, but I'm not really worried about him now. I think he got the grasp of this thing. Plus, he's a black man. And listen, you think you were surprised when I saw that at Notre Dame? I was too. But however, it seems to be working out quite well, as a matter of fact. And one thing about people in life, all they want is excellence. All they want is excellent. We sometimes bring the color up like I just did, but I think he is the first. I think he's the first black head coach at Notre Dame, and that's that was really interesting to me. But anyway, Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz is probably one of the best there ever has been. I put him up there with Bear Bryant, Schembecker, Michigan State. I mean, all these guys, there's something about their programs that just, they're just good stuff. Something about their program that's good stuff. So anyway, so let me do this right quick, and we will come back and then get this party started. A lot of things to talk about today. A lot of things going on downtown at City Hall. I think a lot of people have some comments about that today. Everybody's still whining about the government shutting down. Hey, don't want the government shut down? Don't work for them. See, y'all thought y'all shoot us the bird back in the day because you had a job working for the state or working for the federal government, so you thought you was somebody special. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's happened to me too. It's happened to me. There were times in the Army I didn't get paid. We had to wait a while to get paid, but I wouldn't worry about it. They was feeding me, give me a place to stay. Now, don't y'all think for 1 second they're not going to pay y'all. But every time this happens, I tell people, you have got to put at least 1 month of salary in your bills in the bank. You got to do that. You never know what's going to happen. Any time you work for you work for man, you never know. Save some money up, man. Come on. Okay, just save some money up. I'm just saying, just put a little money in the bank, and it'll hurt a little bit. It hurt a little bit, but it won't hurt as bad as when you don't have any in the bank. I'm just saying. So y'all driving these Mercedes. I went to a place the other day. I saw nothing out there but Mercedes, Benz, and Lexuses. I said, Lord have mercy. But most of those guys were in education. I don't know something about education people. They got to drive the nice car, which I'm good. I'm for that. Anyway, let me shut up and play Lou Holtz right now, and we shall be back right after this to talk about the things of the day. Okay, so y'all just hang loose right there. Okay, and we shall be back. Uno momento. You guys get up, rise, and shine this morning. Let's get up, rise, and shine. And it's a great day. So everybody say it with me together. It is a great day to what? I didn't hear you. It is a great day to be alive. That it is. We'll be right back.
With a silver spoon in my mouth, I know. I was born in Fallsby, West Virginia. And I went by where I was born last night, about 10:30. I was born in a cellar at home, delivered by Dr. McGraw. We had one bedroom for my sister, myself, and my parents. We had a half bath and a kitchen. 7.5 years we lived in that place. There was no welfare. There was no food stamps. There was no safety net. But I always had plenty to eat. Because every time I asked for seconds, my dad would say, no, you had plenty. But the reason I was born with a silver spoon, my dad had only gone to the 3rd grade. That's all the education he had. But why was I born with a silver spoon in my mouth? Because I was taught by my parents that life's a matter of making choices, wherever you are, good or bad, because of choices you make. Don't blame anybody else, but if you get an education, you're willing to work and overcome problems and difficulties, in this great country, you can amount to something. That's why I was born with a silver spoon. I was in this country and I was taught personal responsibility for choices you make. And when we talk about a commitment to excellence, that's a choice you make. What do you want to do? Having hopes and dreams and ambition. See, I think that is absolutely critical. Don't make the mistake I made. I've done a lot of dumb things, but let me tell you the one thing I regret. We went to the University of Notre Dame. We took a program on the bottom. We took it to the very top. And for 9 straight years, we went to a January 1 bowl, the sugar, the cotton, the orange, and the fiesta. Nobody's done it before. Nobody's done it since. We put it on top and we maintained it. That's the thing I regret the most. See, there's a rule in life that said you're either growing or you're dying. The tree's either growing or it's dying. So's grass, so's a marriage, so's a business, so's a person. Doesn't have a thing to do with age. My birthday candles cost more than a cake. But it has everything to do. Am I trying to get better? Am I trying to improve? We got on top and say, this is pretty good. Let's maintain it. Let's not take any risk. We finished 2nd in the country at Notre Dame. Everybody called me an idiot. Guy finishes last in medical school. They call him doctor. That doesn't seem fair. When I left Notre Dame, I never thought I'd coach again. Where'd you go from Notre Dame? According to my mother, you go directly to heaven, you sit by the Pope. You don't coach anymore. And then I went to live in a town where the average age was deceased. And what I found out, I wasn't tired of coaching. You have to have something to hope for, something to dream. And even though you've done great things so far, what's going to happen now? I want to give you a simple plan. Life doesn't have to be complicated. I try to keep life simple. Do you realize there are only 7 colors of the rainbow? Only 7. Look what Michelangelo did with those 7 colors. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with those 7 notes. There's only 10 numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with those 10 numbers. The point I make is it doesn't have to be complicated. See, you need 4 things in your life. If you don't have any of these 4 things in your life, you're going to have a tremendous void. See, everybody needs something to do. Number 2, everybody needs someone to love. Number 3, everybody needs someone to believe in. In my case, is Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But the 4th thing you need in your life is you need something to hope for. There's never a right time to do the wrong thing. And there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. Just do what's right. I think it's right to be honest, right to be on time. See, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy life. Have fun. You're going to have problems. You're going to have difficulties. That's part of life. And don't tell people about your problems. Do you know that 90% of the people don't care? And the other 10% are glad you got them. So you're better off to keep it yourself. You're going to have problems. But have fun with what you're doing. People say, did you have fun doing the ESPN? Not really. Because if you have fun being there, people have fun being around. Doesn't mean I don't do dumb things. And sometimes I wasn't real honest. Do everything to the best of your ability with time allotted. You know, ladies and gentlemen, not all of us be All-American. Not everybody can be first team. Everybody can be the best you're capable of being. And I want to tell you, if you want to fail, you have the right to fail. That's what's great about this country. You do not have the right to cause other people to fail because you don't do everything best your ability. When you join a spouse, you bring a child in the world, you join a business, you join a team. You have obligation, responsibilities, and you owe it to other people to do the maximum you can at each and everything you do. It's not complicated. And the last rule, to show people you care. And you walk in the room, your attitude, hey, here I am, look at me. It's like, no. Your attitude, there you are, how can I help you? I wish I knew those 3 rules when I was 21. I've used them for the last 40 years. There's a statue of me at Notre Dame. I guess they need a place for the pigeons to land, but if you go look at it, just don't look at 3 words on the pedestal. Trust, commitment, love. With a silver spoon in my mouth, I know. I was born in Fallsby, West Virginia.
can't hear anything on your show, on your thing. Well, now I'm hearing something on there. No, it's not me. It's okay. All right, I'll talk to you later.
I can kind of understand that mentality of being more concerned with the country than a few poor people, in individual people. So I don't have no problem with that. But anyway, so much for that. Now there's a lot of complaining going on around here right now. Okay, what do you mean you can't? Man, I hear me well. Y'all say y'all can't hear. Well, I do. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Well, my microphone says that I'm going. So can no one else can hear? Oh, now I can. Okay. So Gary said now he can hear. I don't know. I haven't done anything, but let me check. I haven't done any. Muted now. Now the mic is there. Can anybody else hear this morning? I thought I went through this last week. Okay, I did. I went through this last week. Now I can hear. Okay, I think it's a delay. Okay, I think there's a delay because when you're becoming popular, a lot of people on the server. Okay, 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 good, good. Okay, good. Okay. Well, I did have the video off for a minute there. Okay. Good morning, Randy. Okay, okay. See, all right, all right. I don't know what's going on, but it ain't got nothing to do with me at the moment. But anyway, moving right along to what we were talking about. But a lot of complaining going on lately over the weekend. A lot of complaining. A lot of complaining. Elections have consequences, right? Elections have consequences, right? And I think some of y'all just mad because y'all didn't become mayor. Okay? Y'all didn't become mayor. So you're mad because the man makes decisions. I don't like all of his decisions either. But as the mayor, Lou Holtz has already been on. Yeah, he already left. He stopped by for a couple of minutes to tell you guys a couple of things, and now he's gone. So, but everybody's mad, and think I got to tell you something. Do you know how good our police department would be if we had all the people. And I got a lot of that because they out here getting these boys that were involved in that shooting that left 2 people dead and 12 people injured. They getting them, and most of them are young kids. They're just young. They're just young. But anyway, let us. I don't know why I was out. But anyway, our police department is doing a good job with a small staff. Just think how much better they could do if they had a whole full staff. But let me go to the hot button thing of today. Because see, I know this is going to come up, and everybody's gonna be all tethered. It seems that the mayor has hired, and according to 1819 News and everybody made a big deal out of it. I don't really care. The mayor has hired a former friend to be the next the what's it economic development. Now I don't exactly know what that means when economic development is kind of like Sasquatch. Like when I lived in Washington State, I used to hear about them all the time. Now I ain't never seen them. Okay, so you think Lou Holt's going to come all the way down to Montgomery, Alabama? Well, he didn't have to come here, Alabama. Yeah, okay, but I'll see if I can get him. But no, yeah, it was audio by Lou Holt. But that's him, ain't it? Okay, that's him. That's Lou. I mean, come on, man. Let's not be. I mean, come on. Okay, the fact that you got a chance to hear him was good. Anyway, so the mayor got together. He has hired, and this is what the headline said. He has hired a friend, Donald Watkins Jr. Um, and they had to put he's a fraud. He was convicted of fraud. Donald Watkins Jr. is the new small business development director. Now, here's my problem with all the hoopla about all this. Okay, here's my problem. Listen, it's God held against us. All the things and all the dumb decisions that we have made in life, my Lord, none of us will be where we are today. Okay, and I'm talking about the decisions that don't nobody know about but you. Okay, I'm talking about some of them, not the one that got out. I'm talking about the ones that nobody knows about but you. Here's my question: can he do the job? That's my only concern. Can he do the job? Okay, and I remember them. They had a good business. You know, him and his dad, they had a good business. I mean, they got called up. Things happen in business, and but I think he knows a little bit about small business. You know, they had one, and so he can probably guide you through some of the pitfalls of business, of trying to start a business. So I just don't have all I want. Can he do a job? Now, if he went out and got somebody their whole life they worked for McDonald's, how in the world he gonna tell me how to start a business? Okay. How you gonna tell me to start a business? Like, you can't do that. So I really don't have a problem with who he hired as long as they can do the job. And that should be our only concern about his hire. It's his hire. He's the mayor. He gets to do that. You don't like it? Run for mayor. Like, I'm planning on running for city council. So y'all do. As soon as I figure out which district I live in. So if you don't like what's going on, run for mayor. Okay. I don't know, but he can't get. Listen, I can't even get the city council to bring this up. To think about it. So he can't get anything for the Whitehurst family, but that family does deserve some money from this city. They deserve a hell of a lot more than money, but that's a whole different thing. We'll talk about that. Anyway, so according to the Montgomery Personnel Board, Reed is requesting the board approve his appointment of Watkins at a salary of $120,960 at an upcoming meeting. I mean, that's a good salary. Now, that is a good salary right there. That's more than the mayor makes. But anyway, do we have the only mayor in Alabama that makes less money than the people that he hired? Okay, why? it isn't it isn't government's job to develop business, but it is the government's job to make the environment conducive to those businesses that people may or may not want to start. So they do have a responsibility to make it fertile ground. You know, they do have a responsibility for that. You know, personally, I think the license fee is too much, but that's just me. You know, I'm only I bought one more this year. I just put it in the mail yesterday, my little business license, and I'm through buying them. I'm done buying them. Not buying any more licenses. I'm at the end of next year. I'm going to put my little business to rest. But until then, I should work on many computers. I hope. Anyway, so $120,960 in the upcoming. Watkins Jr., okay, and his father, Donald Watkins, were convicted in 2019 for running a complex investment fraud scheme by which they, according to them, which they stole more than $10 million over the course of 7 years, according to the DOJ. Does anybody believe that DOJ? I mean, really? Okay. Watkins Jr. was convicted of one count of wire fraud and one count of conspiracy. He was sentenced to 3 years of supervised release in order to pay restitution jointly with his father in the amount of $13,850,000. That's a lot of money. Okay, he needs that 120. I ain't mad at him for that. But again, we all have done something. Everybody's done something wrong. We make this big deal out of yeah, and I'd agree. I would agree. I still don't understand why we can't get policemen when the sheriff department has got people in a line waiting to join. I somebody's got to explain that one to. There's some dynamics there that I just don't know. Even my son, I told him, I said, "You want to be on the police department?" He said, "Nope." I said, "How come?" You know, maybe they should do what the sheriff department does. They pay for all your education if you come to work for them. I mean, that's good stuff. You know, maybe they ought to add some more incentive to come get that job. I don't know. Right now, somebody said yesterday, do we got 100 and well, I asked. I mean, listen. I don't listen. I don't believe. My faith is not in the Department of Justice. Okay, because often that same department is the Department of Injustice. So listen. I mean, I tried my best my whole life to stay away from them. Okay, I didn't sell no drugs. You know, I didn't go. I didn't get called for white, whatever they call white slavery. I didn't do none of that stuff. Didn't sell marijuana, none of that stuff. I didn't want to go to jail. Didn't want to come under the auspices and the authority of the Department of Justice. The department, and we saw when Biden was in there. And I got to tell you something. I'm somewhat worried about where we are now at the Department of Justice. Even if they did do Trump wrong, and I think they did, I don't think it is a place to use to get back at your enemies. I just, and sometimes it feels to me that that's what's going on. Okay, I don't like that. That's not what the Department of Justice is supposed to be about. The problem is, but the definition of justice can be changed, misconstrued, misrepresented. Okay, somebody said it's a 75. He said it's excessive compensation. It's a $75,000 a year position max. Well, I don't know. Again, it depends on what his experience is. Depends on what he brings to the table. He has a proof. They do have a record of creating businesses. So again, listen. I mean, do we ever forgive people anything? Really, do we go to church? I was in church yesterday, and the guy brought up a great Richie. He brought up a great sermon yesterday. But we seem to want forgiveness, but we really don't want to give it. Get him in a break. He already they already owe $13 million. So give him a break, man. Come on. I don't know if it's excessive compensation. Were you involved in black slavery? No, I haven't been involved in black slavery either. I think white slavery, I think that's what they used to call it when you come to a town. I remember this back in the 70s. My uncle got charged with this. You would take women across state lines to do your will. And I think they call that white slavery. I don't know if they call it white slavery because it was a white woman he took across, or that's just what they call it. I don't know what that was about, but I never done it, so I'm not an authority on the subject of whether it's slavery or not. Okay, so anyway, what's I know? Anyway, appreciate that, Gary. So again, if you want to give us a call, you can. But everybody, elections have consequences. The man is elected mayor. I don't like everything that Stephen does. I don't like everything Trump does, but I'm not going to say everything they do is wrong. I think elections have consequences. You don't like the people he chose? Well, on the next election, run for it yourself, or get out and work for somebody else you want to be in there. I mean, but whining about what the man is the mayor of the city of Montgomery. Okay, so he gets to put in office who he wants to put in office, as long as the personnel board said as long as the personnel board says you can do your thing there. I guess I don't know. But anyway, good morning to you. Hope that they find you well. So now, are we all gonna can we stop whining about Mr. Watkins now? Now I'm trying to figure which one of them Watkins was the Whitehurst. Now it had to be his dad was the Whitehurst, because I think his dad was actually on the city council in Montgomery in the 1970s, 1975, somewhere around there, 75, 74, somewhere around there, when I was like 17, trying to figure out where I was going. I didn't know anything about. I got to tell you, of all the states in America, I never saw myself coming to Alabama. Never, 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 and never on top of that one. But it's been a good ride. It's been a good ride. Okay. Have you ever heard of Barbary Coast? Of course, I heard of the Barbary Coast. That's where they would. Isn't that where they would steal people and put them on a boat and send them to China or someplace like that? Anyway, so are we done with that? Are we done with this? Or are we going to still whine about the guy getting the job? I don't even know if he's got the job yet. That's just what the mayor wants to do. Okay. I thought his father was president, but that was his father's father. Okay. This is Donald Watkins Jr. that's coming in. I think as the whatever the thing is. So it was he wasn't on the city council. Okay, well, that's funny. I've read somewhere that he was on the city council in 1975 or somewhere around there, and the reason why he couldn't take the case for the Whitehurst case because he was on the city council and he did not want to be involved in suing the city, because I don't think it would have been a conflict of interest. So, but I could be wrong. Okay. I know his father, Levi Watkins, was president of Alabama State for a little while. But we got three Watkins here. We got Levi Watkins, we have Donald Watkins Sr. and Donald Watkins Jr. Donald Watkins Sr., I think, was the person who was on the city council, not his son. At least I'm thinking. I could be wrong. Which I'm wrong quite a bit sometimes. Not lately though. Not lately. Not on this one. Elections have consequences. You get to put in office who you want, as long as they're otherwise qualified. And that's another thing. Y'all remind me of them folks down at the parole board. That we got a parole board that don't hardly parole anybody. We want to keep them in jail forever. Yeah, and I ain't talking about for people who kill people. I'm talking about if you get a little drugs, yeah, you got members mixed up. How do I got it mixed up? Right, he is. Yeah, his son is an attorney too, I believe. Okay, right. His son. So Donald wasn't an attorney. Well, I thought he was. But I think he was an attorney. Now somebody else can tell me, but I think he went before the federal judge with the Whitehurst case, and the judge said that when they threw the gun down on Mr. Whitehurst, that dead people don't have rights. So evidently, the city of Montgomery's police department threw the gun down. Okay, threw the gun down after they had killed the man. And I believe that was Donald Watkins Sr. who went to court because I think in 1975 his son wasn't old enough to be a lawyer. Okay. Now I've done some extensive research on this. Okay, I'm just saying, but I could be wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong. When I say I've done some extensive research, I did the research. Okay, because I'm a research hound. Okay, so maybe I'm not. But still, on this one, I did because I've never seen an injustice like this in America, and I'm pretty sure we had plenty of them. Believe me, I'm pretty sure we had plenty of them. We had plenty of injustices. But this one, the Whitehurst case was, and his dad, Donald Watkins Sr., I think, was the attorney. But I think, yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Junior is actually an attorney also. At least I know I know when I got here, he was in business when I got here back in the day. But somebody else can tell me that if they want to. I could be wrong. You're correct for once. Okay. All right then. Well, anyway, so you see, I do study some of this stuff up. I don't just come on the air every morning and I get some. I'm like a clock. I mean, I'm right at least twice a day. Okay. So anyway, so I don't have a problem now. I realize all over town today somebody's gonna be whining. Here's my only question of anybody who gets anybody who gets appointed for a particular job: are they qualified? Do they have a history of success in that particular area? And I think the Watkins did have a history of success. But every once I think they got involved with somebody with an airplane thing or something like that. I don't exactly remember what it was exactly. I just know it was something else. Okay. Anyway, so y'all just mad because he didn't fire y'all. I'd be mad because he wouldn't hire me. I'd like to have a job working for the city too, making $120,000. Oh yeah. Matter of fact, right now I'd like to have a job making $20,000. A little bit anyway. Okay, 20. Well, 20 may not. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. $20,000 right now would do me good. And what's $20,000 anymore? What's that a month? What, $1,500 a month, something like that? Whatever it is. Anyway. But I'm still trying. Oh, and let me tell you something else is going on down there. That's at that city council thing that I just don't. Okay. Junior's not an attorney. Okay, but I knew his dad was, and I don't really. But I do know he was in business. He had businesses when I got here. I don't. It was some kind of money business or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but he did have a business, and to my understanding, it was doing okay. So if I'm going to have somebody in charge of economic development, well, let me make sure we get somebody that develop their own economics before they talk about developing mine. So okay, so I didn't know if he was a lawyer or not, but I know his dad. I know Donald Watkins Sr. is an attorney. At least he was an attorney anyway. Oh, I guess he may be disbarred right now, but he got to have some age on him. Hell, I'm a couple years from 70, so I know that they got a little age on them out there, but that's okay. I don't feel like it though, I don't look like it either, but I am. Thank God for that though, Anyway, so let me see. According to the Montgomery Personnel Board, the Small Business Development Director will lead the city of Montgomery in efforts in growing and sustaining its small business ecosystem. The position directs the city of Montgomery small businesses programs, including a small business one-stop shop access in Montgomery, and coordinates initiatives that will empower entrepreneurs to launch, grow, and thrive. Now, exactly what that means, I'm not real sure, but okay. These efforts will mobilize financial and technical resources through public-private partnerships, including cultivating investments from banks, philanthropic organizations, and government agencies. The position will report directly to the Director of Economic Development. Okay, then. So he won't be in charge of economic development, but he will actually report to the whoever runs. I don't know who runs that office right now, because I don't really see a whole lot of economic development going on. Although we are bringing in big Meta, Meta. We are bringing in FedEx. We are bringing in big companies, but it's hard to start a small business. It really is. It's hard to start a small business. You don't have the resources. And I went to Maxwell Air Force Base one time. I went to Max Credit Union one time and tried to borrow some money to start my little business, and they said, "Yeah, we gonna need some collateral." I said, "If I had collateral, I wouldn't be here asking for money." They said, "Well, come back when you get some." So okay then. All right, I left, and then after about 5 years or so, I went back down there. They gave me a loan, but they wanted me to give them $5,000 out of my checking account. Well, as it turned out, and this is why small businesses catch a hard time. His hire has to be approved by council, and you have everything wrong. Well, Donald, feel free to tell me where I'm, feel free to tell me where I'm wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I've been wrong before, and I'll probably be wrong again. So, Donald, where am I wrong? Okay. Now I'm only going by what the newspapers say about the job. It's harder to sustain a small business. Well, that's true. It's harder to sustain a small business. It really is, because you always sucking for wind all the time. And here's another thing. Let's not get this. Let's not get this misconstrued. A business is an entity that not only provides job for the owner, but it provides jobs for somebody else. That's a business. I've been self-employed for years, and there's a difference between being self-employed and people who provide jobs for somebody else. That's a business. So I've been self-employed for years for my little computer business, and so I haven't. I tried to hire somebody one time, but I took money too, because everybody thought. See, I had to pay 3 taxes when I was in business. 3 taxes. Yeah, I had to pay city tax. I had to pay. I had to pay 4 taxes. I had to pay city tax. I had to pay county tax, state tax, and the black tax. Okay, I had to pay the black tax. The black tax is when you come into my little store and you say, "Well, I can buy this at Walmart for the same price." And I said, "Yeah, well, that means I'm not cheating you." Well, and they would walk out the store and go to Walmart. Okay, so that was the black tax. I was supposed to give something away because I was black and I had a little business. And so at that particular time, and then after that happened to me a couple of times, I said, "I'm just gonna do this someplace else. I'm gonna rewrite the plan." Okay. And listen, I found that real estate and business is one of the biggest ripoffs that there ever was in the history of business. But it's legal. It's legal. A man can get a commercial building, charge you the rent the building, then make you pay his tax on the building, all kinds of things. And so basically, he just comes around and picks up the check. Now, it's a good business if you can get into it. If you can get into commercial real estate and actually be successful, bro, you're going to make $1. You're going to make some money. But to me, it is the biggest ripoff there. So I said, wait a minute. So one day I told the guy, "Well, you can't pay your own taxes?" He said, "I am, with your money." So I said, "Okay." And listen, somebody came up with that idea, and it's a great idea. I mean, it's a great idea. And here's another thing about business. If you go into business, if you do something to improve somebody's business, their structure, their office, do you know you have to leave it the way it is? You could put $10,000 in making counters and stuff for the place. You know you can't take it out once you build it, because it's not your business. I mean, it's not your building. You can't take it out. So be careful when you go into other people's business. Try to get them to put in there what you need to be put in there, and don't you spend one dime on fixing up somebody else's office, because once you leave, you cannot undo what you did. So in case you didn't know that, I just told you. Okay. So again, self-employment means you don't worry about nobody but yourself. But when you have a business, you hire other people. Also, you provide them with a place to eat and not a place to eat, a place to work, and you get an income for them. And sometimes you'll find out, like I did, sometimes you actually end up paying your employees when you don't get a check at all. And that just, that's just business. I mean, if you're blessed enough to make the money, then you're gonna be all right. And if not, well, you won't be there long. Small businesses are very hard to do. And what is a small business? I believe I believe that the Department of Labor um, calls a small business anything under 500 people. Okay, so me, well, I didn't really have a small business. I had me in my car. Okay. Like I still got now, as a matter of fact, I had me in the car. Yeah, we go around working on this and working on that. But anyway, I think a small business is identified by the Department of Labor of any business 500 or less. So even though you may have a couple hundred people working for you, the Department of Labor, I think, still considers you a small business. So being a small business is no easy thing. Okay. Okay. Oh, somebody said it's hard to maintain small business because people keep shooting out the windows. Yeah, well, there's a lot of truth to that. Anyway, moving on to other things. Now, this weekend we have. Wait a minute. Here's the big story of the day. We keep hearing that we do not have enough policemen. We're hearing that, right? The reason we hear that because that's what they tell us. We don't have, and we don't. I don't know what we got 180. We're supposed to have 500. We got 180 or 200 or something like that. But way low, way less than we're supposed to have. Okay. Here's what I found out. You want to know? Okay. The city council at budget time funds the police department as if they had 500 policemen. Okay? If they had 500 policemen, they fund the police department fully. But they know they don't have their allotted number of personnel to actually fill the slots that are there. They know that. But they fund it as if it were at full capacity. So, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in town, and I realize that. But I know some smart people. Okay? They fund it. Now, I want to make sure you understand this. They fund the police department as if they had the 400 or the 500 troops that they need. Now, what comes to your mind? We got 180, but the budget calls for 500. What's the question in your mind when I just told you that? Okay. What is the question? What is the question? Okay. Okay. Somebody said Mr. Watkins was on the city council. Okay. I thought he was because that's why he couldn't come to the city and he didn't sue the city under the Whitehurst thing because he went straight to federal court because he was on the city council. Okay. But let me get back to the police department. So why would we? Okay, let's see if they're about as smart as I am. Why would we fund an entity of millions of dollars, even though we have half the personnel there that should be there? Why would we do that? Come on now, somebody knows. Somebody knows why we would fund the Montgomery Police Department, knowing that half the people are not there that we are giving the funds to. Why would we do that? Matter of fact, I believe I believe. Let me check with Chat GPT, because I think that the funding for Montgomery. Let's see. What is the police department? I think it's $41 million last time I checked. Police department budget. For Montgomery. I love this Chat GPT. You can find out anything you want to. Okay, Alabama, but I think it's okay. I think it was last time I checked, it was $41 million, I believe. Alabama. Okay, hold on. Okay. BAMA. Okay. I wonder what the word Alabama actually means. But we'll see in a second here. We'll see in a second. I think it was $41 million. Okay. Okay. Oh, ooh. Wow. The FY 2025 general fund and debt service burden for the city of Montgomery, right, it totals $331,625,628, a 6.5% increase. Now, where is the, okay, this budget includes a 15% pay raise for all sworn Montgomery Department officers, along with a 5% cost of living adjustment for other city employees. Okay, while the exact police department spending is not broken out into provided sources, the police budget is significant enough to cover these raises and benefits. Because guess what? Okay, because what? Because they fund it totally, because even if they don't have the people that they're funding it for. Now, I can't find it right here. Discussing accounts suggests police department budget also accounts for funding for approximately 400 officers, though there are fewer actual officers employed, indicating some flexibility in budget allocation within public safety. Well, that's true. That's true. So what do you think they do with the money? What do you think they do with the money? Okay, and again, now even here, even on this, they're hiding what the budget, what the police department budget is. Last time I checked, it was $41 million. The public safety budget is one of the biggest budgets that we actually have. That's fire and police, which it ought to be. Public safety is an important thing. But what do you think they do with the extra money? Well, we need to ask our city councilman, where does the rest of that money go? And does it just get folded into the general fund? So, or is it a slush fund to buy things that we really don't need? Okay. Why are we funding a police department fully when we don't have it fully staffed? Now, that's a question I'm asking. That's a question I'm asking. And that way, during the year, they can go in there and pinch off the budget here, pinch off that money here, pinch off that money there, and do what they want to do with it, without anybody knowing the difference. Okay, I'm just saying, and I know some things now about that budget and about some of the things these folks are doing. One of the things the mayor wants to do. And I don't have a problem with it if we got the money. But one of the things he wants to do is come up with a civic center, which, this is the state capital. Don't have a problem with a civic center, but do we really need it? I don't know. Okay, yeah, and I would imagine. This is the number that I have been given, 180, and they're afraid that it's going to go lower than that. And so what I can't figure out is why it is we can't get people to join the police department. I just can't. The sheriff got a boatload of people, and so they came up with a plan. Where some of those people who are waiting to be on the sheriff department could come be employed by the city, but the county would pay for their benefits. Okay, the sheriff department would pay their benefits, but the city would pay their salaries, which I think is a good move. And we would have a few extra policemen on the street, okay, who still work for the county, but the salary would come from the city since they have the money. They have the money allocated right now for the police department. So why not do that? Because I tell you, sooner or later, something's going to happen around here, and they're going to blame it directly on lack of policemen. Okay, who's going to stop the shooting at the new civic center? Well, hopefully we will get enough policemen, and we won't have these kinds of things. Okay, so now listen, I don't know who came up with the idea of the Ferris wheel. I don't know who came up with the idea of the Ferris wheel. Whoever came up with that ought to be fired. I mean, really, we got a Ferris wheel going on at the same time. We got a Ferris wheel out at the Coliseum with the what's that thing that come here every year? The fair. The fair's out there with the Ferris wheel. So whose idea was that? I mean they ought to be demoted. I mean, why does the city want to run a Ferris wheel? I don't know. But that wasn't my doing. Okay, elections have consequences. Okay, and again, it's still difficult to figure out exactly what the budget for the. I think last time I checked, it was $41 million. But I could be wrong. So if somebody out there can find that out, we'd appreciate the number. Where does the $100 million come from? MPD come? It came from somebody downtown. Okay, came from somebody downtown. And I thought we were at least at half staff. I mean, we were at least at halfway there, around 250 officers. But evidently, we don't have 250 officers right now. And my problem is, then why not take the sheriff's suggestion and hire some of the people who are waiting because they're already post-certified, I think, and waiting until they get enough people here. Why not do that? All you got to do is pay the salary. You don't have to pay the benefits. They're going to pay. The sheriff department is going to pay the benefits. It gives some of these people some experience in law enforcement. It gives help to our people here at the same time. So it seemed like a win-win to me. But there's just so much. Mine's bigger than yours. You know, mine's bigger than yours. Mine's bigger than yours. Politics is about the art of compromise. And the little bitty towns is where everybody wants to see who's got the bigger one. You know, little bitty towns. I mean, Montgomery's a little town. Okay, it's not even a big town. Okay, and everybody wants. I mean, we have got right now. There is a crisis in this city when it comes to crime. There's a crisis in this city, and when you have a crisis, we need to perform triage. Okay, you know what triage is? Triage is when everybody comes on board and we fix the sick people. Okay, emergency treatment. Okay, triage. We are leaking blood in this city, literally because of crime. And if the sheriff department wants to lend his people to the city of Montgomery to help us, since they already put money there for the police department because somebody wants to use this money for other things. Okay? There's no other reason to have extra money in the police department unless somebody wants to use that money and for other things. Okay? I mean, somebody wants to use it for other things. Okay? So I don't know if it's a civic center or another Ferris wheel or whatever it is, somebody wants to use the money because we do not have 400 police officers, but yet and still we have a budget in the budget process for 400 police officers, which means that if Derek Cunningham wants to send us some people temporarily, hell, some of them may want to stay on the Montgomery Police Department. You know, they may rather do that than work for the sheriff department. You know, they'd already be trained. They already know most of them already know the land, and most of this county is built up of the city of Montgomery. So it just seemed like to me there's some mine's bigger than yours kind of things going on around here because I don't understand the rationale behind not taking the sheriff's proposal. Okay, It just doesn't make any sense not to take it. Okay, it just don't. Does it make sense to y'all guys out there? I don't think so. Anyway, moving right along to other things, and we're the same. Are we the same size as Birmingham? The FY 24-25 budget, covering July 1st, 2024 to July 30th, 2025, describes the police department as staffed with 873 officers. Oh, in Birmingham. Okay. Yes. Yes, Don.
You know, I was traveling. I couldn't correct you at the time. But let's start with your assertion. Donald Watkins is the Donald Watkins of Bernard Whitehurst. There ain't no daddy or anything else. That's the same felon that did Whitehurst.
Well, that's the dad, though.
No, see, there you go. I'm telling you the truth, and you go say some crap. No, it ain't the dad.
Yes, it is.
The son is part of the conspiracy that went to prison.
Well, I know that.
But Donald Watkins did Bernard Whitehurst.
Right.
Now, just put that in your head and put it aside because you're wrong.
No. I said he did, but he didn't sue the city because he was on the city council at that time.
He came on the city council in '79 after all that.
Well, I knew he was on city council at some point.
You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
So why didn't he? Then why didn't he sue the city?
Let's talk about the felon. You know, today there's a personnel hearing.
Yeah.
With the guy from the 911 with all his lawyers.
Okay.
It's going to come out at the little crooked mayor. Now the little crooked mayor, the Reed that quit. The word on the street is he quit because of all the back pay.
You're talking about Reed. You're talking about Reed.
Yeah, he quit because of the scam of overtime pay that was going on down at the little crooked mayor's office. Mm-hmm. Now the little crooked mayor, he wouldn't give money to the hospital. Why would he done that? You know why? Because the little crooked mayor's got plans. The little crooked mayor's going to build a coliseum named Joe Reed.
Yeah.
And he needs that money, and he's going to hire Donald Watkins, the fellow felon, to run the program, to get it over the thing. But Donald Watkins needs the council to approve him, and I hope they wouldn't prove a felon.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a
you don't think felons need a job? You don't think a felon needs a job?
It ain't that, man. Well, see, you it's a straw man for you.
No, I'm just asking a question.
He's hiring him because he's a felon and is going to help him do what he wants to do with the money from the city to try to build a college. Why would he pay out the money for the hospital?
Well, now I did ask that question. I did. If
you quit licking his boots
I'm just trying.
I can't believe why you just kiss his butt. Has he ever invited you to a party?
I am.
He don't give a crap about you. And you kiss his butt every day.
I don't have to kiss his butt. He's a Democrat
You're a
anyway.
pathetic human being.
Well, okay. Well, you can say what you want to say. I'm just trying to be fair. I think elections have consequences. You get to hire who you want to hire if you become the mayor of the city of Montgomery or any mayor of any city. You get to hire who you want to hire. And as long as you can't, as long as the opposition can't come up with a reason why you shouldn't, then you should get your hire. I mean, look, Trump made it back in. Listen. I mean, so we. I'm just not against the guy just because of his past. Okay, I'm just not against him for that. But that's okay. You guys can have that argument. And at the end of the day, I guess I didn't know the city council has. Let me call one of my city council here and see whether or not they have to. Let me see whether or not they got to approve this. Yeah, and not only that, we had some other people leave, which I'm kind of, and that's a Colonel Reed, who was the chief of staff. I don't know what that was all about. All I know is there was a hullabaloo. There was a big blow up downtown about this, and again, I wasn't there, wasn't in the room, but I kind of liked Reed. I mean Reid, not Reed. Because I ain't got no problem against him either. But he quit in the last few days, And I would like to be a fly on the wall on that argument that they had. My understanding is that they had a real hullabaloo conversation, and they thought that somebody might have to call the police up there. That's what they said. I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's a top notch guy. That guy has a resume that's But philosophically, and, evidently they disagreed on some things, and so he just put his stuff on the desk and say, "I got to go," and I don't know where he's going to end up at, but whoever gets him is going to be in pretty good shape. You don't. And listen. I'm always surprised when a colonel comes into in this. And now I will say one thing. Here's the one thing about being an officer in the military, especially once you hit flag status. You used to being in charge. You're used to people doing what you tell them to do, and the only people you got to answer to is the general, the guy with the stars. And it's difficult to come out here, and that's what Trump hadn't really figured out yet. It's difficult. You got to persuade people out here. You don't necessarily have to, and even if you want to fire them, you just can't say you fired because you work for the government. So there's a role for leadership out here, but the boss don't have to pay you no attention. The boss don't have to pay. And same as the military, though. Sergeant Elkins go to the first sergeant or sergeant major, say, "Hey, we need to do it this way." They may listen to me, but they still got a right to do it their own way. They're the ones in charge. So I understand it was probably difficult for Colonel Reed to put up with some of these civilian shenanigans that go on in politics. And the military has politics involved in it too, just not as deeply rooted as the civilian world is. I mean, around here, you can't even make a decision unless you think of the political consequences that go along with it. So again, it's one of those things. I don't know why he left, but who knows? Maybe I'll get him on one day and we'll talk to him. Okay. Now, but I do think that we should help this hospital out. If other surrounding communities, let me put that on so everybody can see these statements here. If other surrounding communities use Jackson, should they contribute money to help them financially? Nobody's saying about anything about that. Now, listen, I don't necessarily disagree. Has any of our folks gone in there to ask anybody else to help? But again, though, here's the problem. We're only talking about $15 million here, okay? All that money, but right now we got to deal with this year. For all that money that we set aside for the police department and don't have the people, then we have money. We have the money to help them pay that $15 million for the hospital. Now, next year, we can worry about that thing, but you're absolutely right. If everybody uses it, then everybody should pay a little bit for it, right? No freebie. I hear what you're saying, but we have the money. I can see if we didn't have the money, because we got a budget for the police department that we don't have hardly any policemen to use it. So we could take a little bit of that money, $15 million, and set that aside for the hospital. Because one thing about it for sure, I don't think anybody out there can deny this. If it wasn't so many shootings and stabbings and crime around here, and those people doing the shooting and stabbing and getting cut don't have any insurance. And of course we have a alien problem also. But if you keep sending people out to these hospitals with no insurance, no nothing, then it's going to cost the hospital money. The surgeons got to be there. The nurses got to be there. The other hospital personnel got to be there. Somebody's got to pay them. And of course, your biggest expense in any business is labor. So, and since most of the trouble that happens at the hospital, Jackson, comes from the city of Montgomery, I think the city of Montgomery, absolutely, we are part of the reason why they broke. Okay, because a lot of our constituents don't have insurance. Okay, and we do have other little problem that I don't really know how to figure out. But we do want to help people that are sick. We do want to help people that are sick. So again, why not take the money that the police department has been allocated for more policemen than they have and help the hospital? We can build a civic center later on. What we are trying to save now is the city. We're trying to make sure we have a city that can use a civic center. Okay. Had any other community? I don't think any other community has. I don't think any other community has been asked to help. I don't believe so. And that's what the guy just said a few minutes ago. But I'll find out some things tomorrow, later on today. Where will the shooting? That's true. That's true. If they close, where they gonna go? Because most of the time it happens in a certain part of town, and you certainly can't get out to East Montgomery to go to that hospital. And if you're lucky, you might can make it to Baptist, if you're lucky. So I think we certainly do need Jackson Hospital, and I think the city, because the mayor's constituency is the major reason in my mind, the major reason why they're going broke sometimes, because we got so many people coming in there with no insurance. I thought the Obamacare was supposed to take care of that, though. I guess that was another, something didn't happen. Why did they went back? They need to fix that part. Why did they go bankrupt? Now that's a good question. And one of the reasons why they went bankrupt, because you got so many people coming out there with no insurance. That's one of the reasons. You still have to give them the best care. You still got to use. Now I will tell you, I don't know why Tylenol costs $15. I don't know that one. Same Tylenol at the store. So here's what you do. If you think you might get shot, cut, sick, anything like that, get you some Tylenol. Have it in the house just in case you go to the hospital. That way you got to pay for it. Anyway, so you can't continue to give without receiving. Okay, and they won't turn you down if you show up at the hospital. They will at least get you some emergency care. But that emergency care it costs the doctors, it costs the nurses, it costs the surgeons. It costs the CNAs. It costs all these people to get paid because you got shot. Somebody got to pay them. You're not going to pay them because you don't have any insurance. So that's one of the reasons. And most of those people come from the city of Montgomery. So I don't know why he's got such a hard on for this. Give them the money. I mean, after all, we can build a civic center anytime. But anybody see the mayor out there, he welcome to come on and defend itself on that civic center thing, rather than give $15 million. It always has been 60-40. What they need is $25 million. And so what they've said was the city pays 60, the county pays 40% of that. And I think the county's percentage would be $10 million, I believe, and the city would be 25. The county has a budget of $153 million. Montgomery has a budget of $300-something million, with almost $50 million of that. $50 million, almost. Well, we got an additional. And my understanding is that we have an additional money because we are funding the police department that we don't have the people to pay for the police department. So I don't think it'll be a big deal for us to give some money to the hospital. Okay, I don't think it'll be a big deal at all. I mean, why are we holding the money in the bank for? Seriously, why are we holding the money in the bank for? I know we want the word on the street now that he wants a civic center, which I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't know if we don't get this crime under control, hell, ain't nobody coming here to do nothing. So we need to furnish our police department, okay, and help this hospital thing to get going. And I think we'll be a better city. Okay, civic centers can come and go. If necessary, we can use the Coliseum out there to make things happen. Okay, we can use and I thought a couple of years ago we put a lot of money into the Coliseum. So can't we use the Coliseum as a temporary civic center? I mean, can't we got plenty of parking out there, and things of that nature. So I don't understand why we need a civic center. Why the need for a civic center right now is a need at all. We got the Coliseum. Hey, I'm going to the Coliseum. Okay, that's okay. That's our civic center, and I think they put air conditioning in the place. I believe they did, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. All right. What else? What else? People texting me about? Da 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 da. Okay. Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay. You. All right then. Well. Okay. A felon became president. That's right. That's right. Although that was a political persecution on Trump. I mean, you know what? Listen, I'm not against felon getting the job if he can do the job. Don't bother me at all. If he can do the job. I mean, let's put it this way. I'd rather a felon who can do the job than hire me, who's not a felon, only because I didn't get caught when I was stupid, to do the job and I don't know what to do. I just don't have any problem. Again, elections have consequences. You get to decide who you want to work for you. I just don't have a problem with that. I mean, and that's so-called Christian people out here talking about this and talking about that. Bankrupt because of mismanagement. Talking about the hospital? Yeah, maybe so. But you can't tell me that having people come out there every day, been shot, cut, stabbed, bleeding, whatever case, maybe with no insurance, does not contribute to that bankruptcy. Of course it does. You just it has to. So you can't say that that doesn't necessarily happen. Okay. And again, I don't know how many people come from outside Montgomery to actually go to that hospital, to Jackson. But if it's going to be a community hospital, then okay. Oh, also the mayor's complaint was this. He said that according to the Alabama Constitution, and it does say this, it says that the county is responsible for maintenance of the poor. Now, it does not directly say hospital, but the county does put forth money for medical facilities, not hospitals, for people to be looked at, for preemptive care, for shots and things of that nature. We got the health department over there on over, and the county gets them almost $500,000 a year to operate. So, but the question is, what does maintenance of the poor consist of? Well, again, the Alabama Constitution does not say what it consists for, because if you use that, then they deserve to get groceries too. So do we buy groceries? Do we give them money for gas if they don't have enough money for gas? Maintenance of the poor, it's a whole big statement. You know, if they need help with the rent, do we pay for that? I don't know. But it says maintenance of the poor, though. It doesn't say, it don't necessarily say, I think I read it, it doesn't necessarily say hospitals. But you would think that if you don't have your health, then you don't have anything else. Okay. Here's a question. Has any community refused to help? Yeah, but there's nobody, I mean, there's nobody to help them. I mean, it has to come from Montgomery. They're inside the city limits of Montgomery. You know, the county, and in the county of Montgomery. I mean, who else owes them any help? I mean, I would imagine that Prattville has a little medical. You got a Baptist thing up there. I don't know if Wetumpka has any medical facilities or not, but those people would come back to Montgomery at some point in time to get some help. So you know, now we got the VA. We have the VA hospital. We have Baptist South, and we got Jackson. And Jackson is right near the center of town, so a lot of people end up over there. That's where the poor folks hang out at. And again, I just think Jackson. I think we owe you. I think we owe them the money, since most of our cousins and sisters and brothers out there, you know, and baby kids end up out there. You know, yeah, baby still got some kids. baby still got kids running around Montgomery. Government expand Medicaid will solve the health care issues for Jackson and rural hospital. Well, I'm not an expert on medical stuff. It made sense to me when they said they wasn't going to expanded because if it costs you $100 million a year to provide these services, and the government said, okay, we are going to give you $50 million a year for 5 years. Well, on the 6th year, you've already now are serving many, many, many people. But now you have half the money. Where does the money come from? And then there's another side to that. Let's say if you take the expansion of Medicaid, okay, maybe you can heal some people. Maybe you can heal some people, and they won't be on the sick list. If we take that $50 million upfront for the first 5 years and take the money, and maybe we can heal some people. And so there won't be as many people on the list if we, in fact, serve their needs and things of that nature. So there's two arguments to be made here. You know, why are we putting pressure on? Why are we not putting pressure on? Because I think she drank the Kool-Aid. They refused to do it years ago because it was part of the Obamacare plan. Listen, I'm with you, and I was thinking the same way they were thinking. Well, why? I mean, it's like hiring me for a job. Hey, we're gonna pay you $15,000 a year for the first year. Then after that, to go down to 10,000. Well, then if I'm gonna take this job, I'm only gonna be all right for a year, and after that, I've got to pay out of my own pocket. Well, the state said, well, after the Obamacare thing goes up and the funds that come to us, they're no longer available. Then how do we pay for all these people that we got on our sick rolls? Made sense to me, but they never thought about maybe they wouldn't have as many people on their sick rolls if we took the expansion initially and we were able to fix some people's medical problems. Maybe they wouldn't have. And so somebody up there wasn't thinking. Okay, federal funds are left on the table because the state Medicaid they were, but it did make reasonable sense. It was a reasonable argument to say that why make us pay for 100 people with your help, and then in 5 years you're going to take 50% of the money away. How do we then take care of the 100 people? Okay, so I don't know. It's a good argument with workforce concern, fear of reduced labor participation from free coverage. Well, anyway, I don't have the answers. 50%. What 57% labor participation rate is why Alabama can't expand Medicaid. Okay, now why is that? There's nobody paying into it. I mean, is that what we got? A 50%, 57% labor participation rate. That means we're man. So what are all these other people doing if they're not working? But and Eric, you're right. What we know now that there are hospitals are closing. Not only Jackson's on the hook, but a couple other hospitals in some rural areas are closing, and other parts of Alabama. So I don't know. I think, but right now I'm worried about Montgomery, and I do think the mayor should take some of that $90 million he got saved up and give them on a one-time basis that $15 million, and hopefully they'll get some investors in that hospital. I don't know what kind of mismanagement happened. I don't know if it was mismanagement or not. I'm not in the medical field, and thank God I've really never been in the hospital, except when I got my eyes operated in 1984. They were like this. So anyway, so I had one eye going this way and the other eye going that way, and hey, they operated on them for me. They operated on them for me a couple of times, as a matter of fact. They're trying to collect. Yeah, they are. They're trying to collect. So I don't blame them. Again, I think the mayor should get off that horse. And if you're gonna die on a hill, this ain't the one to die on. Okay, this ain't the one to die on. Because you're gonna have a heart. Now I'm just maybe Don. What you want, Don?
Willie Durham's in the insurance business. So you have any idea what the reimbursement rate is for Medicaid?
I don't have a clue at all. No.
Well, he should have a clue. Right now, it's probably about 10 cents on the dollar. You can't make a living. You know how many doctors are not taking Medicaid anymore because they don't want to work for 10 cents on the dollar?
A lot of them are not taking
because so it ain't gonna solve the hospital problem, Willie Durham. You ought to have enough sense. How about if you told your insurance people that when they went to get their car repaired, that State Farm will pay 20 cents on the dollar what they charge, and see how that works for the people that fix your car. Willie, you ought to have a little better sense than that.
All right then. I think you don't like Willie. But what's it? For the Medicaid Genius. Although I must admit, though, everybody, I keep seeing these things on the internet where I can get insurance for my car for $32 a month. What about that, Willie? I mean, $32 a month. Yeah, that's where I'm headed. $32 a month. I mean, man, who wouldn't like that? I mean, that's what they keep. I can't even turn on the internet or the TV now without all these insurance companies telling me they're gonna get my insurance rates way down. Man, I tell you what, I might have to go check them out. I've been with State Farm though for 30 years. Ever since I've been here. Even though I went to Alpha, but Alpha turned the brother down because they said my credit wasn't good enough. So I looked at the guy and said, wait a minute. If I don't pay the premium, you just cancel the insurance. So what's my credit got to do with it? This is pay before you play. So what? And I still don't understand what your credit got to do with you paying for your insurance. Now, if you got a history of crashing cars, then I can understand that. But credit, come on, man. Okay, then, moving right along. Does anybody know why bad credit would stop me from paying my insurance? Anyway, moving right along. We talked enough about that. But again, I think the mayor should pay the $15 million, and let's move on to another problem. Because we're creating the problem. When we got the money, and my understanding, they got $90 million saved up. They're trying to get in and put money aside for a civic center. Right now, let's pay the $15 million. So now, don't make me call a protest down in front of the city hall. Now I have to get the people together, and I have to go buy a sign or something. I mean, I'm just saying. So we need to pay the $15 million, and we'll be all right. Okay, I'm just thinking. Just pay the $50 million. It's a one-time shot here. Help them out, and the county pays $10 million. Okay, because now I won't bring this up anymore. Okay, I won't. I'll leave this alone. Okay. So, Willie, you make a good point there. You make a good point. How many states have expanded Medicaid to include red states? What do they know that we don't? And again, I think they got to the point where we said, well, maybe we can fix some of these people with these medical issues in the next 5 years, whatever the case may be. You fix them, and we get them off the road that way. I'm thinking that might be what what they're thinking. I don't know. Anyway. What else is going on? Plus, there's some other things going on too besides this. So we got to the main part. Oh, Mayor. Now I'm just going to tell you what some people are going to say. Now I'm just going to tell you is if we can pay a guy $120,000, which is our money also, that we're paying salaries to people, then we got extra money because the police department is not fully furnished, Why can't we do a one-time buy-in to save the hospital? $15 million. Okay. I mean, it's not that big a deal. Okay. Or is it it's either 10 million or 15 million, one or the other. So what's the deal? I mean, why can't we do it? I mean, again, I don't have a problem with us paying employees. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with his. but the money would be well spent at the hospital to make sure our folks who live in this city got a place to go when they shoot themselves or when they shoot other people. If you happen to get shot by one of our crooks that are walking the streets of Montgomery with a gun, at least if we're in the center of the city, we can get a ride over there to the hospital on Jackson Hospital. Now, I wouldn't want somebody to die because we didn't give them the money that we obviously have, and because they have to go further for treatment than what's right there. So I'm just saying, sometimes you got to take one for the team. You got to take one for the team every once in a while, and I'm just saying we might want to think about that for a second. Okay, think about that for a second. Now I got to take a break for a second, but we shall come back uno momento. So don't y'all go nowhere. I have to take a pause for the calls right after this, and we'll close it out. What does it say right there? Gift is gonna gift. Well, that's true. I agree with you on that one. Okay. Anyway, let us take my little break, and I shall return uno momento. Okay, so don't go no place. We'll be back. We ain't done for the day yet. All right.
We change the world and history right here where we're from. It's new beginning to you and me, 'cause we're not done. In our city, in our city, in our city, we're not done. I appreciate that.
Okay, so much for that. Anyway, I look good in that picture, don't I? Yeah, I do. I'll check with those things out later. I had to go get my morning glass of milk. I had to take it real quick though. Okay then. Eight. What's our number here? What is our number here? Because I forget I should know that number by heart by now, but I really don't. Let me see. What is the number? Oh, 521-2963. And just let me check my commo today, folks. Just call up, and so I can make sure I get everything working the way it's supposed to be. I don't know why my screen went black a little while ago. Maybe it's time for a new monitor. Okay, but these are 32-inch nice monitors. As a matter of fact, these things are really good. Anyway, good morning. They know that a 57% labor participation rate is unsustainable for free health care. Okay, you probably have it right. I don't know the technical specificity of that. Well, I guess it's working. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Now, if I was the mayor and you expect me to pay $50 million, now when the white whale,
15 million.
Well, you saying 50?
No, I said 15. 15. 15.
Okay.
50. Yeah.
Now, if I was the mayor, when y'all come again in my budget and ask me to support the white whale downtown, put 0. Since you think that he should support the full bill of the hospital when everyone comes to it, and you shouldn't have to be asked to support a hospital that you come to, and they provide excellent service to you.
Well, they both they both are quality of life issues. The Whitewater thing is quality of life.
No. Half the quality of people. How many people go to Whitewater compared to the Jackson Hospital?
Well, the difference is that you don't
Let's
get
do the numbers now. Let's do numbers.
But the difference is you don't need to get your own ride to the hospital because most time you're in the ambulance because you got shot. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Let's do numbers. Which is more important, the hospital or Whitewater?
I think they're both important. I do.
Now, in the beginning of those meetings that you didn't attend, about that certain project. Now, I can tell you about the project, so don't come shooting that to me. So let me tell the mayor, if they expect you to support everything in the city, what the county gonna do when we pay county taxes and property taxes? What they gonna pay for? Ask Mr. Singleton, Doug, what he gonna pay for?
Okay.
The sheriff go out to Pike Road.
But I do believe
inside Montgomery.
Right. But I do believe they
so
both.
What he pay? He don't pay fire inside Montgomery. He don't pay police inside Montgomery because they sheriff go out to Pike Road and monitor Pike Road.
Well, that's true. But they got 150. They
coming inside Montgomery.
Right, but they got 150 sheriff people waiting to get on radar, waiting to come on board. When the mayor could take those people and put them temporarily inside the city of Montgomery, and the sheriff
said, ask them 150 they want to come on board because their life will be more in jeopardy being a city police than a sheriff person that's gonna hit every now and then and have a few number of people out of Pike Road to guard.
Well,
you think somebody gonna sign on for that?
Well, they've already. I think some of them already want to sign on, but the mayor has not said that he's willing to pay their salary.
Have you asked the mayor that? I don't go by hearsay. Have you spoken to him on the phone and said, "Mr. Stephen Reed, Mayor Reed,
okay, well, you make a point.
So?
Well, you make a point. I'll call him and ask him. Yeah,
I believe in asking. I believe in asking. You know me.
Yeah.
I ask you to your face. I don't have no shame in my game.
Yeah. Well, I will ask him. In fact, if that is true, but the people I got this message from don't have a reason to lie to me.
What snitch to you about the officers and how many not being paid? Did they not get some of the money out the pool?
Well, again, we got a big budget, but we don't have as many people.
I asked you, did they not get some of that money that was in reserve and they sniffed to you?
Gave to me.
Snipped to you.
Slipped to me.
About the excessive money.
No, they they
don't go there. Let's tell the truth. Come on.
Yeah, they gave me no money. Yeah, they ain't gave me no money, so we good.
I ain't talking about you. I'm saying the person that came to you with the information. What did they brought that bone to you? What did they not get?
Nothing. Not a thing.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I do. I know who it is.
I'll see you later.
Okay, I know who it is. Y'all keep thinking everybody got a motive or something like that. Again, we know that we do not have the allotted a number of policemen that they're funding the police department for. So why are we funding the police department for that many officers when we don't have them? Which means that we got extra money sitting around there and we're not doing much with it. And at the end of the year, they'll take that money and fold it into something else, I guess, or by the end of the year and fold it by the end of the fiscal year and fold it into something else. And then next thing you know, they'll say, we don't have enough money for the police department. Now I understand in theory, because if you start pinching out the police department budget, then when you finally get the number of officers that we are allotted, then you won't have the money to pay them. Well, okay, but I'm pretty sure we got what's the lady Betty up there? I mean, she can figure out where to put that money and somewhere that'll help us temporarily and make sure it's not a yearly expenditure. You know, not a yearly expenditure. So she seemed like a smart woman over there. So I think that she can handle that little extra money and put it someplace else temporarily until we get our the number of allotted police officers to guard the city of Montgomery. Yeah, I'm thinking that's what it is. But anyway, I'll find out about that stuff later. 60, they know that 50. Wow. But anyway, a 57%. I think we should have the same number as isn't Birmingham, Montgomery about the same number of people? Oh, let me see. Let me see. Hey, Siri, what is the population of Birmingham, Alabama?
As of 2020, the population of Birmingham was 200,733.
Well, that's almost the same as.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Sure, you keep up the good work. Wow. We are raising hell about that police thing, but they keep telling me that nobody wants to be a policeman. I find that so Montgomery and Birmingham have about the same amount of people. So why are we having such a hard time getting policemen here? Okay, let me see. Hey Siri, how many personnel does the Birmingham Police Department have on staff? I'm just checking.
As of 2020, the Birmingham Police Department had 912 sworn officers and 325 professional staff, totaling 1,237 personnel. However, by 2024, the department faced significant staffing shortages, with 223 vacancies, including 206 officer positions and 17 command roles. Recruitment efforts have since increased, with the 2025 report indicating 93 recruits in training and a goal to be fully staffed by November 2025. That was from ChatGPT. Check important info for mistakes.
Okay, then. Well, that's the deal there. Well, right now they got about 700 officers in Birmingham, a city about the size as a city about the same size as Montgomery is. So why are they getting officers and we can't seem to get them? Can somebody tell me that? Somebody need to tell me that. It has to be a leadership issue. I mean, really, they had 9. Now they're down to about 700 something. But they got about the same amount of people we do in Montgomery. So what's the big difference? Because they took Birmingham and split it up to all these suburbs now. Okay, so that's why Birmingham is not as big as it used to be. Okay, but still, we ought to. I don't know. That's a question. Somebody's going to have to answer the question. Thank you there. Thank you there, Siri. I appreciate you. Keeps me from having to look up all this stuff. Okay. Anyway, we will probably need to overpay for officers and 911 operators. Well, well, we will. I don't know. Well, anyway, my time's just about up. I'm telling you, it's an interesting day today, and I had a whole bunch of stuff here. Oh yeah, and I didn't get into the No Kings rally that happened in Montgomery the other day. Bunch of idiots out there. That's what they are. Bunch of idiots. And listen, if you have to pay people to protest, is it really a protest? George Soros is paying people. They are busing people in to protest. So is it really a protest or is it part-time employment? I think it's part-time employment. Listen, hey, you got to take a job. You got to take a job where you can get one. And if protesting, okay. And what we need, that's what we need. We need more police. We need it. We got to have them. Okay. Anybody agree with me? Appreciate that. I thought so. Okay. Well, as usual, I'm right. As usual. Well, anyway, my time is about up here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And like I say every day before we leave, it is not the falling down that gives us the strength of life. It is the getting up each and every time we do. So all I can say to you today is keep getting up. Keep getting up. Don't ever just fall and stay there. You want to get strong, get up every time you fall. In today's lesson of life, if you feel pain, you're still alive. If you make mistakes, you are still human. And as long as you keep trying, there's always hope. Good morning to you. Have a great day. And happy birthday, Zarel, Jonathan Elkins, out there in that place down there in Fort Gordon, Georgia. 19 years old. It's been a great 19 years. Have a great day, everybody. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. Well, at least the phone was working again, so that's a good sign.
With your warm embrace, through valleys deep and mountains high, your faith a beacon in the sky. Every trial with lessons wrapped tight in